Well, Philip Turle is joining me now from our International Affairs desk. Philip, why is this government then being contested? I mean, it's only just, as we heard there from Clovis, trying to get down to work.
To be honest with you, Stuart, a lot of people in France and overseas are sort of still scratching their heads saying, what is going on in France? Why did they call early elections? There was no point in doing that. Emmanuel Macron has put the cat amongst the pigeons. He's lost his majority, or his relative majority. It's even less now. And he's created a government that is the most extreme right-wing government in the history of the Fifth Republic since 1958, which is exactly the opposite of what the left is saying, which is, well, basically, we came top in that election in July. We won the most seats. And there's not at all a left-wing stance in the current government at all. So one person who is a former socialist who's going to be justice minister, who's called Didier Migaud. So already the right-wing national rally of Marine Le Pen, the far-right national rally of Marine Le Pen, and the far-left France Unbowed, and this left-wing coalition of the France Unbowed socialists, communists and Greens are already thinking that they're going to try to unseat this government with a motion of no confidence. Even the socialists are saying they're going to table that on the 1st of October when Michel Barnier is going to make his declaration of policies of what he's intending to do as Prime Minister. So it looks like he's in for a rocky ride. And on top of that, if that wasn't enough, there are these two candidates in the government. We've just been hearing about Bruno Retailleau, the Interior Minister, who was against same-sex marriage. He was also against the banning of conversion therapy for homosexuals. And both he and another minister, Laurence Garnier, have said they were against the idea of giving the right for abortion, making it inscribed in the Constitution. So a lot of left-wingers in France have said, well, this is totally out of order. And even the former Prime Minister, Gabriel Attal, has made a statement saying that he's going to demand that the new Prime Minister make sure that there's not going to be regression on rights for people in France, notably when it comes to abortion, medically assisted reproduction, or LGBTQ rights that have already been well established for years. So there is a lot going on, which is making this new government look incredibly unsure and uncertain just as to how long it can actually last.
An awful lot going on, an awful lot of time pressure as well, Philip. I mean, the budgetary announcement, which is seen as France's most crucial issue, that's due by the end of this month.
Yeah, well, 3 trillion euros worth of debt, which the government's going to have to try to find a solution for. That's double what the EU has said that they're going to allow France to have, the 3% limit. The coffers are basically empty, and the government's going to have to try and find this money from somewhere. There are two new people in charge of that. One of them is the guy on the left there. He's called Antoine Armand. He's only 33 years old. He's the new finance minister. On the right is Laurent Saint-Martin. He's in charge of the budget. They're having to find out how they're going to try to soak up that big hole in French finances without raising taxes, which is what Emmanuel Macron says he will definitely refuse to do. So it's a tall order. They're saying they're going to try to make big business contribute more. Those with vast fortunes will also be able to contribute more. 67% of French people say they want a reimposition of the wealth tax in France, which will help also boost the French coffers, but it's no mean feat. It's estimated about 20 billion euros is needed every year for the next 5 years to make things a little bit better for the government and get them back on track with the European Union. But that's not all the government's got to put up with, because they also have the overhaul of the pension reform. That's something that's been called for by the left and also by the far right. They also have the law on immigration. That is up for discussion once again, dealing with the violence in Martinique, where prices are 40% higher than they are in mainland France. All of these are urgent problems that the government is going to have to deal with when it finally takes off. It's later today. First cabinet meeting is this afternoon at about 3 o'clock. And just very quickly, if that wasn't enough, there's also foreign policy, which France has got to deal with. A brand new, young foreign minister who's only 41, Jean-Noël Barrot, never been minister before. He's got the war in Ukraine. He's got also the war in Gaza and Lebanon, and the possible arrival of Donald Trump in the White House, plus France's position in Europe. All of those under discussion. A big order, lots of problems to sort out, and a very young and quite inexperienced cabinet to do that.